Hey yo, it's time for the playoffs, we the top of the West. We got the home field advantage, time to play at our best. I'm out at Carson, California, kill a piece on the set. Like Joe Belich, the pistolero, put a hole in the net. Yo got bonito when I dribble like I'm Gabriel Peck. Call me Yamane, got defenders out here breaking their neck. And put a curler past the keeper like I'm Pooch on the left. I'm bringing the skill like paint seal, counter attack. I'll put your sheet on next to Garces to defend in the back. And we serio, que golazo, give them props on the track. I got a vision like I'm Royce when he's giving a pass. Marky Delgado is my boy, helping out where he can. Put up a Tifo at the park, show the love that we have. Diego Fagundes on the left when we get to the half. Let's make some changes that Gaston create a play and retract. When in the game we have possession, but we shouldn't relax. Mauricio Cuevas now and never, time to bring up the stats. We gotta show them what we're made of, take a look at the past. The champion's back, the race to save the price that we have. We ain't stopping till we have another cup in our hand. What? Let's go Galaxy, let's go Galaxy. Yeah, vamos Galaxy, let's go Galaxy, let's go Galaxy, yeah, vamos Galaxy, la cuna galaxiana, es la voz de LA.
Hello, hola, and buenas, and welcome back to another episode of La Cuna Galaxiana, a podcast always made with love for all you LA Galaxy fans, wherever you may be celebrating this 5-0 victory. And that's exactly what we're going to be reacting to today. The LA Galaxy's first match of the 2024 playoffs, a 5-0 dispatching of the Colorado Rapids on Saturday, October 26th at the Digs. We'll talk about the offensive display, the shutout the defense produced, and talk about our takeaways from a dominant LA Galaxy win today. The boys from ElTrafico Radio will be our special guests. They'll be here with us today. El Profe Alex Ruiz and Mike Gray, aka Miggy Gris, are here to break everything that they saw down along with us. But before we go any further, let me introduce myself. I am one of your co-hosts, Rob Halon. You can always find my written work at Extra Time Talk, and you can always find me online at El Escudero de LA. And of course, man, I'm here, and you know what? If I'm here, that means Anandita Kirana, el yerno guapo y el gitano perdido está aquí. He made it to the match straight out of the airport, and boy, was he treated to a game. Anandita, was it all worth it?
Oh, man, vale la pena y más, papa. Like, seriously, I'm so glad I made it for that absolute shellacking, dismantling, thumping, whatever you want to call it, right? Like, an absolutely dominant LA Galaxy performance, and wow. And shoot, that's my one word reaction, man. Just like, wow, right? Like, what an explosive performance. There's nothing else left to say. I mean, I was left the stadium kind of floored at just what I saw. Robert, I was half joking, but 10-0, I was pretty close to my prediction. Wanted the 10-0. We got the 5 halfway there, but
could have been like 6 or 7.
I mean, it was pretty darn close to a 10-0. We'll going through, guys, you know me and my stats. I love those, and we'll show the picture what that looks like from the stat sheet. But a completely dominant performance, and yeah, man, just again, really happy that I made it and that I was treated to such a performance. And I mean, we'll talk about like the day and sort of the vibes, and man, I had a great time where I was. I saw a couple of our friends that we saw at halftime, and I got to celebrate the 4 goals because they were sitting on that side. I was sitting alongside them, and we were celebrating like mad. So amazing day.
Yeah, it was electric at the Digs. And, before we go any further, I want to congratulate and salute all y'all in chat, because all y'all always make it electric whenever we're together. And I see you Nag boys out there. I see you out there, Edgar Nags, looking all galan at the game on Saturday. I see you. Shout out to the Nag boys. Keep on nagging. Shout out to Move Football as well. Guys, it is a good time to be following this team, to be writing about this team, and yeah, we're gonna get into all the goodness. But yeah, like I mentioned, all you guys in chat always doing what you're doing. We really appreciate it. Help us get to that 500. You guys are occasionally ask us, how we can help the pod. That's exactly how you're gonna help the pod. spread the word. Dile a tu tío, dile a tu tía, al que te corta el zacate, el que te cuida al nene. Let them know. Subscribe. We're at around 320ish. So we got a ways to go, but you know what? We've always been saying that we love who we're riding with, from day one. And anyway, we have been talking to you guys the past couple of weeks about how this pod is now on Goals TV. Just another avenue for you guys to check out the pod. If you guys are going to do YouTube or Spotify, check out Goals TV. If you have a second favorite team in the league, you guys can also probably pick up a lot of that content there as well, because Austin is represented there. The homie Mo Football, who was just in chat, represented there on Goals TV there in St. Louis as well. So you know what? Go ahead and check out that Goals TV if you're trying to scout a couple of the other teams as well. It's a good way to do it. Anandita, do you got anything in housekeeping to get to before we get into shout out and football?
Yeah, well, really quick, Mo just said welcome to the Goals TV family. Yeah, we're excited, Mo. We can't wait to collaborate with you and all the other creators out there, the boys from We Are Austin, Hernan, those boys, and to meet everyone in the community. I mean, like Rob said, if you're an MLS sicko, as they call it, this is the perfect platform for you. You get to be sort of stay up to date on all of the, from a fan perspective, all of the teams. So you get a great grassroots view of all the teams as well. I know Edgar's been doing a lot of work with actually some of their creators as well, as he always... him and the Nag boys always partner up with all the fan TV. So really, really good work from everyone. But yeah, just housekeeping before we get this started. Guys, you can always follow me, block me, or stalk me at Ananda Galaxiana. Of course, our handles are right there on the screen for all you guys on YouTube.
Yep.
And of course, you can find us on all of our socials at Lacuna Galaxiana. Pretty simple tag there, a pretty simple handle. And as Darren says in the comments, go ahead and give us those likes, guys. Don't forget to hit that like button on your way out or even on your way in. That and subscribing to this channel is going to be one of the best ways to support this channel. If you do like what you're listening to, and of course, the other way, as we've been talking about it, another way that you can support this little teeny tiny humble pod is to go ahead and contribute to our horchata fund, guys. We do have an horchata fund. No horchata for me tonight, but Rob is always down with his strawberry horchata. So
always,
it's on the screen there, guys. buymeacoffee.com/Lacuna Galaxiana. And again, nothing is expected. We just, even your presence, your mere presence here, we thank you, and we're super, super grateful to go ahead and do this for you guys. And man, we got a good one today, so it should be an exciting pod. And of course, Roberto, como siempre, antes de olvidarme,
Dile.
Buenos días, tardes o noches, y bienvenidos a otro capítulo de La Cuna Galaxiana. Of course, it's playoff edition. I keep saying it. You guys heard the Arquitecto track in the beginning. The playoffs are here. We back, and yeah, back in the playoffs. So there you go.
I really want a sound effect bank so that, like, when we say certain things like playoffs, we could do like a playoffs. Or like, job's not done, we can do the Kobe job's not done. We need to get on that. We just need a little sound effect mix.
Real quick though, do you have a one-word match reaction, or do you want to wait till later when
No.
the boys about it?
Okay. You know what? Like you always talk about like letting chat have the word. I didn't let chat have the word, but I kind of let X have the word. Our good friend. Chris Tucker out there in the Carolinas, he put up a really beautiful tweet, and you should be having it or be seeing it here any second now, so you can flash it up. There we go.
This one?
Yes, it is. That's the one. He says, "We never demanded a club that won. We only demanded a club that tried. G's are back up." By all intents and purposes, we've been talking about that. The eternal question now, it seems like, are the G's back? Are the G's back up? You know what? I said earlier in the year, far be it from like sporting things, the intent is there in the way they're moving and the way they're carrying themselves. Like Tucker says, we never demanded a club that won. We only demanded a club that tried, and you can tell that they're trying. We've spoken about it a million times. The video team, the merch team, the front office, the way they're moving, and Will spoke about it last time that we were all together. It's part of being transparent and part of being connected and knowing what you all want, which is, you guys are the LA Galaxy. So not just mad props, but let's get into these announcements here. That's
Yeah.
my one word match reaction, by the way. Like, I'm just gonna say Tucker, because what he tweeted is my sentiment, man.
And of course, Rob just talked about it a second ago. But guys and gals, if you weren't there either live or you haven't listened on playback yet, go ahead and check out the interview that we did with Will Kuntz. I'm actually going to be posting that, just the interview segment, on YouTube by itself, so you can go ahead and just click on that video if you want to listen to Will and not us, which is totally fine because, again, like I said, who wants to listen to two knuckleheads talk about LA Galaxy soccer?
Ese hermano habla español, güey.
Like, dude, insane. Yeah, we were.
How much did he surprise us, bro?
Like insane, right? Insane. So yeah, but like I said, guys, I'm gonna post that interview up fairly soon here in the next day or so. Probably should have it up by tomorrow, so you get it and enjoy that. But yeah, it was man, just like I said, we are in good hands. We've got an amazing front office, we've got an amazing GM, and now we just have to perform. And boy, did they ever perform in game one.
You know what? Will and Greg have spoken about the concept of not only signing good footballers, but signing good men. And I mean, it starts from the very top, and we've spoken about that. You know, it's a culture thing, and it's got to start from the top. And I feel like, you know, whatever your feelings are on Greg as a coach, you know, like he's always, again, been very transparent, very gracious with us, and you know, same thing with Will. So I mean, if you're not gonna have good men and good footballers, I mean, you know, like it starts at the top as well, you know, and the reverse is true in this one. Pleasure to be able to say that those are not only good executives or good coaches, but good men. But anyway, let's prop up LA as a whole now, Ananda, because LA popped off and showed out, and it wasn't just the Galaxy. This tweet by Arash Markazi here says Los Angeles sports teams are undefeated since 10/24. I'm not sure if that's still true. I think this tweet went out like 2 days ago, but starting with the first one, Rams 30, Vikings 20, Kings 3, Sharks 2, Dodgers 6, Yankees 3 in game 1, Lakers 123, Suns 116, Lakers 3-0, by the way, shout out to them. USC 42, Rutgers 20, Dodgers in game 2, 4-2. They just ended up winning game 3, Ananda, a little bit earlier today, so they're one game away from that sweep. Lakers 131, Kings 127, Clippers 109 to Nuggets 104. I know we have a couple of you Clippers fans in there in chat. Kings 3, Utah 2, and then of course your beloved LA Galaxy 5, Rapids 0, USC 96, Gonzaga 93, Chargers 26, Saints 8, Clippers 112, Warriors 104, and got to put the set out there. LAFC 2, Whitecaps 1. But anyway, so LA has been doing their thing. And then shout out to @BuiltForLA for this graphic. I always enjoy Built for LA's graphics, and this is particularly fun here. So anyway, LA doing their thing in the playoffs, in the World Series, the Galaxy doing their thing in the first round, the Lakers opening well their season, and the Kings doing big things as well. And I read the stat about your stats guy. So I read the stat that when LeBron opens the season 3-0, 3-0, that he's won the title 3 times. So hopefully that long may reach the Lord's ears, right? So anyway, congrats to the Ballon d'Or winners that were announced today. I don't know if you heard this, Ananda, but your team's delegation, it seemed, was very upset that Vinicius Jr. was not getting a prize, and just decided to say like, "Hey, we're not going to this thing, man." Any comments on that?
Yeah, pretty crazy. I never like to see sort of like sore losers, I guess. You never want to see that kind of behavior. So yeah, a little disappointed, to be honest. But I mean, I don't know. There's always 3 sides to the story, right? I haven't heard their side yet, so I don't know. We'll see. I know what happened, but I just didn't bother to take a look at it. Not yet. But at face value, like not a good look, I don't think.
Well, we do have winners. Let's start with the big one. Aitana Bonmati. 2 years in a row, she's the Women's Ballon d'Or winner. I mean, I would say that you know, she's like the female Messi, but I think that's kind of like disrespectful to her. Maybe Messi's like the male Bon Mati, who knows? But she's just been on fire for the last like 2 years, man. She's won like anything possible. So congratulations to her. And of course, as you're fond of pointing out, she does come from your wife's hometown. So you know, it's incredible to see, like, you know, just the. I mean, you've been there. I haven't, and you. I mean, you see like where this incredible player came out of, you know, and you're just like, huh, you know, talent can spring from anywhere, right? Bonmati wins for the women. Rodri wins for the men. We have GCam in chat says, I feel Vinny deserved it. My opinion, though, it's Chris says, Vinny who? I don't want to start any beef in chat, so we're just going to leave that there. But yes, Rodri from Man City wins for the men. Emi Martinez wins best keeper. Carlos Ancelotti, best men's coach. Emma Hayes, best women's coach. And Lamine Yamal, best young player. Yamal doing filthy things this weekend in El Clásico. Easy to see why he was named the best young player. Guys, if you ordered one of the 1-2 threads, Cien t-shirts and bobbleheads, they are hard at work. Look, they have Cien just signing away at bobbleheads right here. And so 1-2 threads announced that tea and bobblehead pre-orders will be shipping out today and tomorrow. And I believe that tweet was put up yesterday. So it would have been yesterday and today. So be on the lookout for that, y'all. And again, if y'all missed out, like, I feel bad for y'all, because this is, in like a year, this is going to be one of those things that you're like, dang, like, we're going to pick this up. So anyway, you know, I know y'all have connections. I know y'all have the plug. So go ahead and figure out where you can pick that one up, or either that or offer someone double for theirs, because this one is going to be one of those ones that you're going to love. You guys can see it right here. And like I said, you guys can see Cien signing this one up. So anyway, be on the lookout for that if you guys ordered that one. Galaxy official watch party going down on Friday at the Legends Plaza at 6:30. Doors at 5. Go ahead and hang out with your Galaxy community. Lars are also doing a watch party playoff potluck at the American Legion in Monterey Park. Congratulations to them for 22 years as well. I'm sure as the week progresses, there will be other watch parties announced. Go ahead and watch out for those. Go ahead and check out the supporter group handles, social handles, for more information. That's your ACB social handles. Your Outlaws, Galaxians, Lars, comments, shout out Primo. Go ahead and check out all those supporter group social handles to go ahead and find out where you can meet up with your Galaxy community. Congrats to Dieguito Fagundes for his 400th combined appearance. We always talk about on this pod about how this guy's not actually old. Like, we just think he's old because he's been in the league forever. Since he was 16, 400 appearances now. I think we always ask ourselves, Ananda, when we talk about Diego and his longevity, we're like, how old is he? 28, 29? Is that correct?
Something like that. Yeah, 29, I think. Could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, like, by all intents and purposes, he has like a good 6-7 years ahead of him still. If he, I mean, and we've seen him, he takes care of himself really, really well. So it's not a stretch to say that you know, he gets to like 500, maybe even 600. So congratulations to Dieguito. Shout out to his family in Austin. Lovely folks. Good luck to Mikey Stevens. This is one that I'm actually going to ask El Tráfico radio boys about here in a moment when we bring them on. Mikey Stevens, he was assistant GM under Will Kuntz. According to Tom Bogart, the Chicago Fire just named him the head of recruitment. It's the Fire's first front office hire under Greg Berhalter, who was just named coach and director of football over there. So Greg Berhalter already looking to add talent to his staff. The Fire situation is similar to the Galaxies at the beginning of the year. They have 2 open DPs and a fair amount of TAM money to spend going into next year. So between Berhalter and Stevens, they should be able to bring in a couple of good players. Of course, Mikey Stevens played for both the Galaxy and the Fire during his playing career, and now he returns to Chicago to put what he learned under Will Kuntz to use. Good luck to him. Of course, caveat is just not against the Galaxy, ever. But yeah, it's good to see like Bruce Arena has like his coaches that he influenced and stuff like that, and like they're all out there. It's nice to see like Will starting to have like his trickle down effect on executives going out there and around the league as well. And it's also a I wouldn't say sympathetic or like easy to negotiate with between Will and Mikey, because they have that relationship, but it's certainly like more of like a warm approach. It's instead of like a cold call, right? Like, hey, Mikey, what's going on? Remember when we used to work together? So anyway, like I said, I want to get these boys' opinion on this. So Ananda, the reason everyone's here really for Profe and Miggy. You know them from the always entertaining El Tráfico Radio podcast, the Striker Soccer, SB Nation, and the Galactic Tribune. Please welcome back to the show El Profe Alex Ruiz and Mike Gray, aka Miggy Gris. How y'all boys feeling?
Hey boys.
I'm rusty. I've been on here in forever. So, boys, take it easy on me. Outside of that, it's been so awesome to watch the growth of the pod over the past. I mean, you had your year celebration not that long ago, but man, I mean, this is an elite pod now. I'm on here. I'm super excited. What can I say? Alex, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, hey everyone. Good night, everyone. Rob and Ananda, it's really great to be back on here. Great to see that you guys had Will Kuntz on your last podcast. Congratulations for that. Definitely great tuning in to you guys whenever I'm on the road and stuff like that. So really excited to be back here. Really excited to talk about Galaxy Soccer.
Hey guys, thank you so much for being back. Of course, last time we were with El Profe, he was all suited up. Mike Gray mentioned that 100th show. At that 100th show, Alex Ruiz was looking all spiffy, suited and booted. And I was ready to ask him out on a date. I swear, but I know he's booed up, but
Get in line.
He was looking sharp. I was like, dang man, look at this guy. Guys, we are going to ask you for your one-word match reaction here in a moment, but I know that Alex, you at the very least commented on this, and so I want to get both of your reactions to Mikey Stevens' departure from the Galaxy. Of course, he was the assistant GM under Will Kuntz, and so Alex, maybe let's get your thoughts first on this departure.
Yeah, definitely a very big loss for the LA Galaxy organization. Look, Mikey Stevens had been with the club since 2022. He's very much one of those guys that, whenever we're in the press box, Rob, we run into very often, very involved with the club, very much a guy who does an excellent job at the work that he does. And look, all of the players that have been brought in by the Galaxy that have been scouted have been really good signings. I mean, even if we go to last year, and last year was a disaster, Tyler Boyd was one of those silver linings last year. Lucas Calagari, very good. Unfortunate that the injury kind of stopped his LA Galaxy career. And even heading into this year, right, Joseph Paintsill, Gabriel Pack, John Nelson, right? He had a great game, and we'll probably talk about his goal a little bit more up ahead. But look, Mikey Stevens is a guy that's going to be missed. He's a guy that kind of very much laid the foundation for the LA Galaxy scouting department to be at the elite level that it's at. Because let's be honest, a lot of the signings since, around in early 2022, so when Mikey Stevens arrived as scouting director, they've been excellent. There have been very few misses. And like I said, it can be a major loss for the LA Galaxy, but I think the foundation is there to build off what Mikey Stevens was able to do. And I think the organization just has a culture of how it wants to approach signings, how it wants to approach looking at players. So while it does suck, I'm not too worried about the organization. I don't believe there's going to be a fall off when it comes to the evaluation of talent.
And Mike, Alex touched on, he's not really worried about the Galaxy maybe with this departure, because even though Mikey Stevens did great work, the foundation is there. Talk to us about what you're seeing in that foundation, around the Galaxy front office.
Well, the fact that he got poached, that is a reflection of the work that Will Kuntz and company have done over the past couple of years. And if you look at the Galaxy situation, I mean, Kuntz, how would you not want to work for Will Kuntz in that current environment when you look at the roster? So, yeah, it's a big loss. Like Alex said, it sucks. You know, he had a really good comprehensive response, so I'm trying to come up with my own original thoughts. I can't even think of a negative signing that's been done. Even, you know, like Tyler Boyd, for example, they made the right decision to let him go, right? So it sucks. But at the end of the day, Will has done more than enough to change the culture of this club, and I do believe that they'll have plenty of choices to recruit from for someone to replace Stevens. So that's how it works in MLS. You know, if you're successful, you always run into some problems. Look at the Crew. You know, they won the MLS Cup, and then all of a sudden they have salary cap issues, and then they have Bezbatchenko, and now Bezbatchenko is, you know, over at Bournemouth. It's very difficult to have sustained success, but if anyone's up to the challenge, it's going to be Will Kuntz.
Yeah, Ananda, like Mike says, I mean, when you're successful, people will want to come for your talent, whether that's players or whether that's executives. We see it all across the world of football. Of course, today, my European club sacked their manager, so they're going to be looking at doing the exact same thing. And it looks like they're going after a promising young sporting coach who they will promptly fire in about a year and a half to 2 years as well. But anyway, less said about that, the better. Mike, let's stay with you. Give me your one-word match reaction from this 5-0 LA Galaxy win at home in Game 1 of the Western Conference playoffs.
Slamma ding dong.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Was that like 4 words or one big one put together?
No, I mean then we're getting into like the dynamics of like supercalifragilis and like words like that,
hyphenated words, and I get it.
No, this is one word. Slamma ding dong is valid. I believe what Mike is trying to say is like he was filled with emotion because that
was an
probably
NBA Jam. And I'm ashamed that none of you were able to pick that up.
Oh,
I
man,
didn't pick up
that is NBA Jam.
Yeah,
no. Oh, you know what? I just recently played NBA Street, which was pretty fun. Alex, hit us up with your one-word match reaction.
Yeah, I think if I were to choose one word to describe this game, given that it's the first game of the playoffs, you know, this was a standalone game on Saturday night. I think everybody who follows MLS, whether you be a LA Galaxy fan, MLS fan, or a pundit covering this league, a journalist, that performance was head-turning. That's going to be my word, head-turning, because it proved that the LA Galaxy can hold their own defensively, that their patterns of play on the offensive side are just so clean, so smooth, and they're just able to kind of cut through the Colorado Rapids like a hot knife with butter on Saturday night. So head-turning is going to be my performance because of just how good it was on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, no, if the LA Galaxy puts in performances like that, and I said it on Thursday, they know we know they have the players, we know they have the game plan, we know they have the tactics, they just need to go out and execute. They did, and it's a 5-0 win. It could have been much larger as well. It could have been 6-7. It's wonderful to see this team in full flight, and I don't even believe it was 100% full flight. But let's get into the game at large here. Well, we got a couple more actually. Ananda in chat, Winner Only Rocio says a dream, and GCam says dominance. I'm not going to dispute that word dominance. I mean, Alex will go ahead and let us know a little bit more about that when he tells us a little bit more about his Galactic Tribune article. But yes, it's a word that's bandied about very, very often, but this one was a dominant performance. It was a complete performance by this LA Galaxy team. Ananda, in the lead up to this match, what did you see around the digs? What were you feeling? What was the feeling in the stands like?
Yeah, well, like I said, I got in just in the nick of time. Kickoff was about 8:10, I think. So I got into the stadium, I would say like 7:45-ish or so. Got in through the sort of the far gate over there by Legends Plaza, and well, as soon as I walked in, man, like that the vibe was already at an all-time high. The interesting part though about this game was, of course, the Dodgers were playing just at that time, and it was very intense in sort of that ninth inning. So everyone was sort of in the pavilion and in the concourse watching, and sort of, so you had this like kind of mixed atmosphere where there's, you know, the fans in the stadium that were already in their seats and kind of enjoying the pregame atmosphere, but then there was just a bunch of fans like sort of oohing and ahhing and clapping and cheering over every strike, you know, just that whole like that was an interesting experience, I would say. I don't think I've experienced that yet, but of course you talked it on the top of the show, man. It's just the sort of the success that all these LA teams are having right now, right? And then of course, you know, walking on the concourse, just as I was about to get in my seat, I ran into this fella here. That's Mr. Daniel Aguirre. I just randomly
I know that
in
guy.
the concourse. Yeah. So I mean, it looks like, you know, everyone was showing out, right? Even ex-players, etc. So it's really good to see, by the way, like just that support from your ex-players, and you know, the fact that they still have LA Galaxy in their heart, right? So, but yeah, man. But I'll say this: as soon as the national anthem was played, the Dodgers game, I think, was just about over at that time. As soon as the whistle blew, man, it was ready. Like everyone was ready. Everyone was ready to just explode. Everyone was ready to have a good time. Everyone was ready to see a Galaxy win. And I think the feeling was palpable. And of course, Rob, I know you, I'm going to sort of bring it back to you on this one, because you had a great view of the, I thought the Tifo unveiling from the ACB side was really nice as well.
Oh yeah, man. The Tifo game was on point. I mean, it all year long, like, you know, we've been celebrating Maya and Mickey and the Japanese culture and stuff like that. There was an event earlier in Little Tokyo, and you know what? This is like a perfect homage as well, man. This was yeah. I saw a couple snide comments on it on X, and I was like, these fools are daffy. This is clean. So anyway, I dug it, and the they were you know, the Tifo was on point, but they were absolutely loud and just lively, as loud as I've heard them all year. And then of course the cross stadium chant at the 15th minute was you know, it was moving the stadium. So the vibes were there, the intensity was there, the passion from fans was there, and it was great to see. And you know, all the players talked about it in the lead up to the match, the 12th man, and it paid off in a victory. Guys, if you don't know, if you've been living under a rock, your LA Galaxy earned a 5-0 shutout victory over the Colorado Rapids at home in the first game of the best of 3 round 1 in the Western Conference playoffs, in the MLS Cup playoffs. It wasn't a sellout in this one, but it was just shade under 25,000 that saw this historic win. It was just the 5th time in club history that the Galaxy has scored 5 or more goals in a playoff match. The last time was in 2014 versus RSL. You know what else happened in 2014? The Galaxy's last title. So this is boding well. And 3 meetings between the Galaxy and the Rapids across all competitions in 2024. They have an unbeaten record of 3-0-0 and 5 all-time playoff matches against Colorado. The Galaxy have posted 5 shutouts and hold an unbeaten record of 5-0-0. So just doing the business against Colorado, it'd be insane if the Galaxy were to somehow let this slip at this point with the future. I mean, with the previous past and their form against Colorado. Dejan Joveljic and Ricky Puig each recorded 2 goals. John Nelson scored his first MLS goal, and Gabriel Pecci tallied 2 assists as LA cruised to that famous 5-0 win. Ananda, you talked about it last match that the Galaxy needed a statement. Mission accomplished for you?
Yeah, I'm going to table that one though, because I do want to expound on it a little bit later when we get into our discussion point. But yeah, definitely mission accomplished.
All right. Well, I believe so as well. I know that Alex is probably going to speak on this a little bit later, but the Galaxy made the statement that I was looking for, especially on the defensive end. They limited Colorado to 1 shot on goal and earned a shutout for the first time in 7 games. It marks the first time in 78 all-time MLS Cup playoff matches that the Galaxy have held their opponent to 0 shots on target. By holding the Rapids to no shots on target, it marked just the 11th time in over 1,000 playoff matches that the Galaxy have held their opponents to 0 shots on target. 8 shutout all year. A couple of them one has been Novak Mikovic, and the other 7 have been John McCarthy. Again, this was very heartening for me to see this defense come together and put together this shutout. But of course, the offense is going to take the plaudits, and it started off in the first half when Dejan rose above Reggie Cannon for the headed goal off the corner kick. This one looked like it was sheer will by Dejan to put them ahead. Really quick, Alex, Mike, Galaxy have had trouble all year on set pieces. How gratifying was it to see them actually pick up a goal off a set piece? Let's go ahead and go with Alex on this one.
Yeah, I mean, look, you would rather have it at this time of year than, any other time of the season, right? And that's what matters. And look, the LA Galaxy, we've seen them be really great in open play, and obviously their struggles defending set pieces have been a big talking point for most of the season. But just to be able to see Dejan Joveljic kind of with pure will kind of just jump over Reggie Cannon, just showing that determination, showing that, look, they're going to find that extra gear now in the playoffs. I think this is a sight to see if you're an LA Galaxy fan, because that's what it takes to win these games. They're going to be scrappy. They're going to be tough. They're going to require a different level of physicality. And look, Colorado is going to be a tough team. We know they're going to want to press. We know they're going to be physical. Obviously, LA Galaxy have the talent advantage. So it's going to be no surprise if you see Colorado kind of be a little bit more physical, trying to draw more fouls. But look, the Galaxy are saying, look, we can go band for band right here. And Daniel Lich, they're showing that he's capable of not just being a guy who can score with his feet, but with his head and in the air. And that's what the Galaxy need, a complete striker. Any team that's won MLS Cup in the past 5 years have had a complete striker at the helm. And Dejan Joveljic is starting to prove that more and more. And we'll talk about him probably more in the second goal or third goal. But yeah, he was really great on the night. Not a lot of people are talking about it, but definitely something to keep an eye on is if Dejan Joveljic is going to elevate himself into that upper echelon of strikers within MLS this playoff campaign.
Well, El Profe Alex Ruiz dropping some Central C on us and also letting us know about Dejan. Yeah, Def. And then Dejan. Ananda's been talking about these attacking hubs, or like these hubs of movement across the field, and it just seems that when Dejan's on the field versus Miguel Berry or Joseph Paintsil is leading the line, their hub of movement around him is much cleaner, and so man, he not only putting together the goals for the LA Galaxy, but providing them as well. We saw that in the second half after the Galaxy come out of the first half 1-0. It was pretty much all them. 4 goals in the second, and it started with Mickey Yamane. All season long, we've seen him get involved in the attack. Early in the first half, there was one sequence where he pretty much brought the ball all the way from the back line into the final third. Unfortunately, it doesn't result in a goal, but it happens again in the second half, and this time it does. Just 7 minutes into the second half, Mickey Yamane again just lights out in this match, drives forward and serves a peach of a ball with the outside of his foot for John Nelson, who receives, cuts back onto his right foot, and then curls it in for his first MLS goal. And what a golazo it was. He throws up a knee slide and everything you love to see out of a defender after scoring his first goal. 2 minutes later, the Galaxy's transition game got into the mix. John Nelson turns provider. He drives forward and he lays the ball off to Deon, who, like Alex was talking about, this complete forward lays it off to Ricky for him to pass into the net for the 3-0. And at this point, 2 goals in 2 minutes, the Galaxy have 3-0. It's just a formality at this point. So John Nelson, like I mentioned, a goal and an assist in this one. Deon gets his brace after picking up some loose trash in the Rapids box, dribbles around a defender, shows a lot of patience, and rifles a shot into the net for the 4-0. And then Ricky again gets the 5th by Gabriel Pecci. Just lays the ball into his path. Good control by Ricky, and he smashes it for the 5-0. Peck now has recorded a goal and an assist in 6 consecutive matches, dating back to all competitions, totaling 11 goal contributions, 5 and 6 during that span. Question for all 4 of us. Mike, we're going to start with you. Favorite goal of the night? This was a Sophie question to Greg, and Greg kind of begged off. Sophie said, this is kind of like me having to pick your, this is Greg. Is this kind of like you having to pick one of your children? And Greg kind of laughed about it, but he said the biggest challenge was kind of remembering how they came about. But now that we've had time to sit with them, gentlemen, I'm sure you guys can go ahead and pick out your favorite goal of the 5, and let us know why you were impressed by it. Mike, go ahead and kick us off.
Yeah, can we talk about John Nelson? What a performance by the young
Yes,
lad.
we can. About him.
With that 52nd-minute goal. But I agree with Greg in the sense that we all wanted to see him get forward a little more offensively and maybe add a little more to the attack. John Nelson's part of the field. That's maybe the one part of the pitch where teams could afford to maybe not be touch tight on Nelson, in the sense that, his only options usually would be the pass back or a low percentage cross, and that had a way of making his game predictable. But what you've seen where he's gotten a bit more freedom, especially this week, is you're starting to see production out of him, and that's obviously pretty darn important. But and that has a way of making the Galaxy even more predictable than they already were, and add the new element, and with that added, how should I say this? Even when, even after he progressed enough to earn the starting spot for the Galaxy, they still needed that little bit of extra attacking element from him, and it also has the added bonus of making Paintsil more effective on the pitch too, because he hasn't scored or assisted in the last few games, but has been definitely more productive. And I think that the Galaxy, in a way, they're peaking at the right time of the year. You have Garces, who's obviously performed extremely well in the back line, and now you've got Nelson with this added offensive element. And teams don't necessarily know how to scout or how to look at the game tape and figure this stuff out. It usually takes like anywhere from 4 to 10 games to really scout a player and know what his tendencies are. And I guarantee you behind the scenes they're trying to figure it out with Garces and trying to figure out weaknesses. And while we're at it, I thought Garces was unbelievable. The only caveat I can even come up with, and this is just me being extremely picky, is that he has a habit of maybe conceding a few too many fouls in dangerous spots. There were 2 of them last game, and I could go on a tangent, but I'll just leave it alone for now.
Alrighty. So, Alex, go ahead and give us your favorite goal of the night and why.
Yeah, I think I'll go with the 3rd goal, the Ricky Puig goal. Dan Joveljic connecting with Ricky Puig for that one. 2 reasons. One, I kind of mentioned Dan Joveljic kind of becoming this upper echelon striker, being this complete forward. And look, he's been really good technically when it comes with his hold-up play, when it comes to reading the spaces. And look, the Galaxy are going to need that right now in these games where they're going to be very much the opposing team's going to be very concentrated on the defense, trying not to allow those spaces inside the penalty box. And I think being able to see Joveljic not only be able to play with the ball at his feet, but also just being able to kind of read the off the ball movements, read where to go, read what spaces to occupy. I thought that was great. And he got himself in a good position to get that pass there from John Nelson. And then the other part too is just that connection with Ricky Puig. Look, the best playmaker on MLS Cup winning teams have had excellent connections with their striker. You look at Miguel Almiron and Joseph Martinez, right? You look at Cucho Hernandez and Diego Rossi. You look at all over the past couple of years, these all-time in great teams, even this season, right? Messi and Suarez obviously had that connection from their Barcelona days. If Ricky Puig and Dejan Joveljic can establish that similar type of connection where they easily anticipate each other's movements, anticipate when they're going to get the ball, that's going to really take this Galaxy attack to another level that, to be honest, I'd be surprised they would have, because we've seen Gabriel Peck be excellent all season. We've seen Joseph Pain still have his top moments this year. But if Ricky Puig and Dejan Joveljic can unlock something there, I think we're talking we're going to raise the ceiling for this team. We're going to definitely raise how good they can be in the attack. So I really like that we're kind of seeing those two kind of establish that connection. Obviously last year, maybe we kind of really didn't see that. We didn't really see the body language. It was very positive towards one another. We kind of saw that they just never kind of saw eye to eye when it came to passes, when it came to kind of the movements they were doing. So to be able to see both of them kind of celebrate, do the Pistolero celebration, I think that's a good sight to see. And I think that's a sign, a warning shot for other teams in the West being like, hey, we've got our star playmaker and our star striker building something special right now in November. And that's the perfect time for the LA Galaxy to really get into the MLS Cup final, which is obviously the main goal for the season.
I believe the kids call all that facts right there.
I was gonna say, so was your favorite goal the Raquinho goal, or was it something else?
Oh, it was definitely the Raquinho midfield strike for sure. No,
give us your favorite goal,
mine was the third, just like Alex, but for a different reason. It was the culmination of a sweep in action of a beautiful transition play. And if the Galaxy can consistently finish off these offensive actions, then they're going to be really effing dangerous, man. Greg talks about it all the time, like how sometimes Gabriel Peck or sometimes Joseph Painso won't finish their final shot or like final action at full speed. They'll like slow down. And these were prime examples of the Galaxy finishing at speed. Ricky getting the ball in stride for the third and the fifth goal, kind of in the same way from Dejan and Gabriel Pecky, literally getting it in stride, but just having that beautiful first touch that he has, being able to pick up the ball in stride and just deposit it home. The third and the fifth for me are very similar, but for me the third one is the nicer one because it comes off that transition play. And again, the Galaxy are going to get these transition moments 3, 4, maybe 5 times a game. And if they can finish off, half of them, then we're already talking about 2 goals, maybe 3. And you know what? The defense did their thing this game, but you know what? Let's just keep the offense purring, and that way no one has to worry about anything. But what was yours, Ananda?
So I was actually in between 2 goals. One of them was the third goal that you guys talked about. I think for me, the biggest thing was, what's the most dangerous lead in football, guys? 2-0. So I think that was the one that sort of capped the game off. But I'm going to offer a slightly different perspective. I actually really, really like the first goal. And here's why. We've seen the Galaxy sort of score in multiple ways this season. That's within possession, within semi, or a full transition. But set pieces, if that's something that this team has in their locker that it can exploit, and maybe I'm more sensitive to this because I follow Arsenal and we have this huge set piece routine thing that, we spend millions and millions of Alex rolling his head, but he knows it's true.
Didn't Chelsea's team see each other this weekend?
Yeah, we did. It was.
They got to taste their medicine too.
Sharing of the spoils, but if we can somehow unlock set pieces, not only from a defending perspective, but offensively, this team's dangerous, guys. And so, you've got really good targets in there like Dejan, like Maya, Emilio Garces, Jalen Neal, if he's on the pitch. So again, in a playoff type of environment, they're, Mike, I think Mike or Alex said it earlier. They're very sort of tight games. They're deadlocks. If you need something to break a deadlock, sometimes set pieces will be the way to do it, to avoid yourself in a penalty kick situation. And man, if we can unlock that, look out, because this team, there's no stopping this team on the offensive side, right?
Yeah, no, I all year the problem has never been offensively. Everyone knows that this team is great on the offensive side. We've just been wondering about the defensive side all year. But guys, let's look at the starting lineup. Does anybody have any comments on the starting lineup? Was anybody surprised by anything? Go ahead and pop your hand up and then take it away if you have any comments on the starting lineup. For me, it was pretty much what we thought it was going to be. So yeah, it looks like everybody.
Good. I mean,
it looks like everybody's in the same camp right here. I mean, we spoke about it last pod.
Can I bring up a point about this though? And this is like a total 360 from last year, because remember last year, guys, now whether it's through injury or whether it was not, we had what, like, Rob, how much did I count last year? Like 10 different center back partnerships, and I don't even know how many starting lineups we had. It's predictable now, and that's where we want this team to be, right? But then on top of that, you've got weapons like Fagundes, Marco Royce, Jalen Neal, like off the bench when you need to close out a game or when you need something out of the game. I mean, I love the predictability now of this lineup, and I just love that there's a consistency, and you see it on the pitch. The chemistry is really, really good, and I think it's something palpable that all of us fans, journalists, etc., can see, and I just like the consistency of it. No more sort of plugging in square pegs in round holes. We know what we got, and we just run with it, right?
If you want a fact check on this, to Ananda's point about backline combinations, last year the LA Galaxy had 22 different backline combinations.
There we go.
Season.
I shortchanged myself. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, in a 34 match season, 22 is way too many. And then, I mean, we spoke about the stability all year. Last year, it leads 67 goals shipped. This year, you had pretty much either Maya Yoshida and Jalen Neal or Maya Yoshida and Emiro Garces all year, or it was very, very few and in between when it wasn't. And that stability leads to that success. Still work to do defensively, but much improved over last year. I think anybody can see that. On this one concludes another LA Galaxy victory. So 38 matches played in 2024. They now hold a 21-9-8 record. And 78 all-time playoff matches. They hold a 46-20-12 record. And in 18 matches played at the Digs, they hold an unbeaten record of 14-0-4. The Killer Peas continue to do their thing, guys. In 18 matches, Peck has totaled 23 goal contributions, 11-12. Ricky Pooch, the Prince who was promised, 21 goal contributions, 10-11 in 16 matches played at home. And the man that Sir Prophet Alex was talking about, Dejan Joveljic, has totaled 14 goal contributions, 11 and 3 assists in 13 matches played at home. And one wonders just how much he could have picked up had he not been injured for a couple of matches this year. Speaking of Ricky Pooch, Ananda has him flashed up here on the screen looking happy as can be. Why wouldn't he be happy? He's recorded a goal or an assist in 13 consecutive games played at the Digs across all competitions. And dating back to March 30th, he's totaled 21 goal contributions during that span. And on the season, he has 32 goal contributions, 15 and 17. More on Dejan, who, if he's going to play like this, I mean, and the Galaxy have the Killer Peas and Dejan. I mean, it's going to be hard for them to be stopped. Dejan, of course, picks up 2 goals and an assist. He now has 57 career goal contributions in 118 matches played across 4 seasons with the Galaxy. I saw a question earlier in chat, guys, about Dejan. Is he now better as a starter or better as a sub? Are Dejan Joveljic super sub days over? 60 starts in 118 matches played, 40 goals, 17 assists. Mike Gray, Mickey Gries, what do you think? Has Dejan progressed from super sub to being the undisputed man to lead the line for the Galaxy? And mind, there was a lot of questions about whether he was at the beginning of the season or not. Has he proven that he is?
Well, back in the day, a few years ago for the striker, I actually wrote a very successful article where I argued that Dion operates best as a super sub as opposed to starting. Of course, that was a few years ago, and ever since, yes, he has made the progression from being someone who took advantage of, defenders with tired legs at the end of the game to becoming someone with elite movement, someone who can find the ball in the box, whereas before he was a bit more stiff in terms of finding, he was always a good poacher, but now he's starting to create goals with his off the ball movement. And when you combine that with his chemistry with the four, or, obviously Team Tech and Touche, it makes a big difference. And, Galaxy fans, any fans in MLS, we like to make a lot of suggestions, and maybe it's just me, but I've been pretty conservative with my predictions. Should we move on from Dion? And I always just had a lot of faith in him. The fact that he was always a finisher, and come on, like if you think about last year where we finished 13th in the West, I mean, and then you think about this year, what's really impressive about his play is that he's just now running into shape. Even Vanny was talking about how all year he was in and out of the lineup due to injuries, and he's still pulling up these consistent numbers. But, I think it's also a fact that this team, what's so beautiful about some of those goals is you're seeing the chemistry develop over a full year. And, I cover LAFC across town. They're good in transition, but the Galaxy, they can beat you with or without the ball, and to me it's more aesthetically pleasing soccer right now, and that's a real testament to what Vanny's done. Just as a final, just kind of hot take, I'm not really upset that Vanny didn't get the nomination for Coach of the Year, if only because I know he's not going to win it. I think that players, for the most part, they don't really put that much stock into these awards unless they win them, obviously. But, for them, the validation comes from the results. It comes from the community that supports them. And, Vanny doesn't need, Weeby or one of those, these guys are on my butts. I can't even say anything negative, but, they don't, Vanny doesn't need our approval. Let's just put it to you that way.
Yeah, Mike, he kind of made a light of his nomination. A couple of press conferences ago, he said, "What aren't there like 22 people nominated for this thing?" And by this point, the list had been culled down to about 8. So we let him know, no, you're one of 8. Of course, he is not one of the Final 4 coaches. Or is it Final 4 or Final 3 coaches?
3. 3
yeah. Coaches. I'm sure Alex will speak on this a little bit more, but Greg, of course, not one of the final nominations for Coach of the Year, while Chris Armas, who Colorado coach, was, and we'll talk a little bit more on that. But Alex, let's bring it back here to Dayon. A lot of questions about him at the beginning of the year. Is he now the undisputed starter for the Galaxy at the 9? Is he better at the starter, or has he still stuck in that super sub role for you?
Yeah, I think Dayon has definitely grown into that position as the starter now. Like I mentioned earlier, he's very much grown in his technical abilities, his hold-up play, and just his general understanding of the run of play, which is what you want from a starting striker, right? Because if you're a super sub, you're not necessarily focused on those aspects of the game. You're just focused on getting in the box, being a body in there, tap it into goals, fighting for loose balls. But I think in this game, in the past couple of games, we've seen Joveljic evolve into being a guy who can excel in all facets of the attacking game, whether it's the combination play, patterns of play, hold up play, like I've mentioned a couple of times, reading of spaces, kind of knowing how to drag out center backs. I think this season, Joveljic has taken that step to prove that he's learned those concepts, and he's learned the entire role of being a starter, because the starter and super sub are two completely different roles that require two different styles of play to execute. And I think Dejan Joveljic this year has shown the starting style of play is his play that he can, be best at to help this team and also help himself, score goals. Because again, at the end of the day, if you're a striker, you want to score goals, you want to have that personal glory, you want to be able to have that in your bag. And Joe Village definitely has had that bag this year and in these moments. And like we talked about in the first goal, he's got set piece goals in his bag. I mean, you want to see him add to that. You want to see him continue to be that presence. So I think Jovic has outgrown that super sub role, outgrown kind of being a guy reserved for just throw him in the box and see what happens. I think he's definitely earned his stripes to become a starter for the Galaxy.
Rob, I think. Oh, sorry, man. I was just gonna say I think it's really interesting how the narrative has shifted from the beginning of the season of him being a tap-in merchant to now he's undoubtedly a complete striker. Just to build off of Alex's point, so I think that narrative shift has really, really been nice to see, at least for everyone that's sort of rooting for these players, because they sometimes, guys, we just got to think like these guys are humans, right? I'm sure they read everything that they see, and granted, yes. Dayon too, but well, Alex, you would know that, right? And especially some folks on the team, but no, seriously, and of course, remember, guys, Dayon had also sort of those transfer rumors swirling around at the time, right? So not very easy, but I think that to me has been the most rewarding thing about seeing Dayon this year is just shifting that narrative from him just being a tap-in merchant to now being a complete striker. So that's really nice to see.
And let's add this real quick for context. Like, he's been battling injury all year. You talk about him kind of going out in that preseason game against San Jose, like way back in January. He's been dealing with that hip injury all season long. He's been dealing with all these other issues, and he's still out here performing at a really high level. I mean, he was out of the Serbian national team for at least a year and was recently called up in their last qualifying, or I think it's Nations League. I think what it is Nations now. League. But he's definitely earned the respect of being not only back on Serbia's, radar as a player for the national team, but just in general, I think the admiration of him continuing to put his body out on the line when he's not 100%. And I'm sure if you were to talk to him, he'll tell you he's not 100%. So he definitely has kind of just earned those stripes right there. And I think everybody should, have that respect for Jovic for what he's been able to do this year, given the situations he's been in.
I love it. Sudando la camiseta, putting the badge above the body. You know what? It's like Tucker said, Galaxy fans were not demanding that the team win. They just demanded that the team tried. And you're seeing that effort from this team. Ananda, go ahead and hit us up with the numbers that led to this victory. And then we'll get a couple thoughts from the ElTrafico boys here on this match.
Yeah, this one's going to be a quick one, guys. I'm just going to give you one stat that says the whole narrative of this game, and that's the home team, LA Galaxy, had 18 shots, and the away team, Colorado, had 1. And that just shows you, we've said it on a couple of the one-word match reactions, dominant, complete. I mean, that stat alone just shows the dominance and the imposing sort of will that the Galaxy was able to impose on the Colorado Rapids. I mean, and the other thing too is like from a defensive standpoint, and I know, Rob, I'm going to sort of hand it over to you after this. I know you wanted to sort of double down on this one, which is defensively, we've basically nullified any threats that they had. You look at the touches inside the opposition box, Robert, they only had 10 touches inside the opposition box. Crosses, they actually had 12 crosses to our 0, but you know what? We did a good job dealing with them. Granted, they didn't have I would say a marksman like a Georgi Mihailovic on the pitch that would probably give you more of a sort of that early delivery or more of a threatening delivery. But again, we dealt with any sort of threat. Even Greg talked about post-match, I think John Nelson as well, about sort of defending with our possession, right? Being able to control the game, dictate the pace of the game with the ball. And but no, man, I mean, you could just see with these stats, like just how dominant we were, not only offensively, but defensively as well. And guys, to kind of go into these next discussion points, I know, Rob, that was one of the things that that you were even asking Greg post-match, which is sort of your takeaway, your headline from this win. And for you was the defensive performance, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the headline for me would, and Alex, Mike, being that you guys are both writers as well, we're gonna ask you for your headline from this match. For example, mine would be offense takes the plaudits, but defense rules the roost. And what I mean by that, of course, everybody's going to talk about the 5 goals, the offensive performance, but really, you want to see the defense hold down home fort, be dominant at home, rule the roost, and they absolutely did. The defense was on point. I spoke in our preview about how much they needed a shutout to set the tone for the playoffs, to not only prove to themselves that they can get a shutout and get these kind of defensive performances, but put the rest of the league on notice as well. Like, hey, we know everybody thinks we can't put in these type of performances. Well, here it is. What's up? No shots on goal. Read them in a weep. And you know what? I've said a bunch of times on this very pod. The proof is in the data. The data is no shots on goal. This LA Galaxy team can put in these type of performances. It's like I said last pod. We know that this team is talented. We know they know the game plan. We know they can do it. Now they just need to execute. They did. Very happy for them. And so, yeah, that's my headline. Mike, do you want to hit us up first, or should we kick it over to Alex to hit us up first? Who wants to give your headline first?
I don't know. I'll do it. Who cares?
Let's do it.
LA lays a Galactic beatdown on Rapids. Something, I don't know. Personally, headlines for me are the worst, man. But I just can't do it. Yeah, it's cool. Next,
Galactic beatdown is pretty appropriate though. It wasn't close. I mean, this is one of the better teams in the Western Conference, and the Galaxy made them look. Humbled them, really. Alex, what do you got for us on the headline here?
Well, yeah, I mean, I already did this exercise this morning, had an article out in the Galactic Tribune, coaching clinic. That's my headline for it. Look, Greg Vanney deserves his plaudits for basically shutting down the Rapids, making it so that his team isn't playing down to the level of their competition, kind of establishing that rhythm, right? I mean, you guys have talked about it already a little bit, but look, the patterns of play were like just on point all night. You saw the movement, you saw the way the players, like with ease, just filled into the right spaces, were able to move the ball, kind of carve through the Rapids. And then, as we mentioned defensively, I mean, the Rapids did nothing. And sure, they didn't have Georgi Mihailovic, but I'd be more concerned if they were playing at a decent level, you know, without Mihailovic compared to with him, right? They basically showed Colorado that we're going to shut you down with your star player. We're not going to be a team that's going to give you a chance. We're not going to let you breathe. And I think Greg Vanney did a really good job in kind of executing the game plan on both the offensive and the defensive side. On the offensive side, made it so that the Galaxy was kind of able to, you know, beat the Rapids mid block, be able to beat them whenever they kind of did try to press a little bit more. On the defensive end, we definitely saw them being able to kind of cover up their spaces, kind of not be too exposed in the transition moments, right? I mean, we saw Mito Garces kind of hover out a bit wider compared to being more central, like Maya Yoshida, for example. So little tweaks like that is definitely what's going to help the LA Galaxy kind of shut down teams that try to exploit them on a counter. And overall, I thought the Galaxy just outclassed the Rapids just via possession, just via the control of the match in the later stages. I think Greg Vanney, look, he won't ever say that he likes, you know, wants to win these awards. He won't ever, you know, pump his chest, but he's still that competitive player that he was during his playing days. He's still a guy who has that fire, a guy who, you know, years ago, everybody was talking about this young manager in Toronto, making them into a powerhouse. A couple of years with LA where they haven't necessarily been, you know, good years or great years. But look, he wants to, just as much as the LA Galaxy want to get their respect back, so does Greg Vanney. And I think this playoff series against Chris Armas, who, you know, we talked about it briefly, was one of the 3 nominees for Coach of the Year. I think he kind of just wants to puff his chest out and be like, hey, don't forget about me.
Yeah, and should Greg Vanney get this LA Galaxy team to MLS Cup, they will most likely be facing off against a Tata Martino or Wilfred Nancy or a coach of that caliber. And so that's really where you're going to see Greg Vanney, you know, stack up against what are considered some of the better coaches in MLS. And should he win the day, I think, like Alex says, he's going to be able to you know, beat his chest and say, yep, that's me. up there in conversation for one of the best coaches in MLS, whether it's an award or not. The trophy proves it. Anandita Kirana, te toca.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you guys bring up all these points because it kind of brings into my sort of I think macro point in all this, which is just the beatdown that Mike was talking about, the sort of coaching clinic Alex was talking about. I mean, guys, this team is making us believe. And that's my takeaway from this game is this team continues to make us believe as fans, as writers, as people covering this team. Every time there's a setback, they always come back. I looked at the MLS Cup odds coming into this tournament, and guys, we were right behind Miami at a plus 300, and I'm kind of shaking there like, okay, is that for real? Like, are my eyes deceiving me? Like, is that? And every time I see a setback like Houston, you naturally as a human, you kind of take that and you say, okay, you process it and you say, okay, maybe there are some things that this team needs to work on. But every single time they continue to make us believe. And with this 5-0 thumping, I mean, they just put the rest of the league on notice, right? So I think now we can expect this team to hopefully carry on these performances and sort of go through any sort of obstacle or any hurdle that an opposition team might face. And we're going to see this, guys, in the next game. We're going to give you guys a quick mini match preview of what to expect in Colorado. But for sure, against the altitude, you're going to face a very wounded animal. But I believe in this team because of performances like this.
Guys, I believe very heavily in signs and synchronicity and all that kind of stuff. El Primo Matthew, comment sign to 6, says G's Open first home playoff match with a 5-0 win against RSL in 2014. Hey, that lines up pretty nicely with this year. Guys, we always do defending the badge on this pod. We have our nominees, of course, but we'd like to hear from you. Who you think deserves defending the badge for this match. Let's go ahead and start with Alex here.
Yeah, out of the 4 nominees we have here, Ricky Puig, Gabriel Peck, Daniel Village, and John Nelson.
You can stray, by the way. You can stray, by the way. If you're like, well, one of my guy isn't on here, you can. Yeah, of course, Raquinho for sure. But no, you can go ahead and pick somebody else because mine is not on here, for example.
All right, I see. But I'm just going to go with the ones here. I think I got to give it to John Nelson. Look, the guy's been underrated all year long. He's been really consistent. He's not a guy who's going to lose you games. He's been a guy that the Galaxy have very much depended on with Julian Alde out. And I think, look, this goal is just amazing for Nelson. I mean, in St. Louis, he wasn't getting any game time towards the later stages of their campaign. Comes to LA Galaxy, it's just trying to, get his career back, trying to be able to get more playing time. And he does here, and he has this moment in the MLS Cup Playoffs, scoring his first ever MLS goal. So I got to give it to John Nelson. I think he deserves the recognition for what he's done all season long, and just for showing that whenever like that meme goes, the Shaq one. It's like I wasn't familiar with your game, so yeah, I wasn't familiar with your game, John Nelson, but you showed out. I wasn't expecting that goal. It was a great goal, and yeah, I apologize for not being familiar with your game.
And I love the new slide. Mike, do you have a defending the badge winner? We have one for John Nelson already from Alex.
Okay, I'll be a bit avant-garde with it because I was going to do Garces, but I'm pretty sure that might be one of your guys' options. But if not, let's be a little weird. I'm going to go with Gabriel Peck. Why? I don't think he was the best player on the pitch that night, but that is what makes Gabriel Peck so special is that, he's got a really good work rate. He's got a really good attitude. And even on an off night, he can still provide you with 2 assists. Probably should have had 2 goals. But it's what I like so much about this front four is you rarely see a situation where more than one person has a bad game. Like Paintsill, Greg said that he had many opportunities, 4 of them, in fact, and, he managed not to score. But then when you have Gabriel Peck providing 2 assists and countless chances from the wing, you're going to be in good shape. So, I think it's a bit unheralded in this game. Like I said before, there were better players out there, but the consistency that he's brought to this attack is really special. And, second half of the year, it's tough to think of anyone who's had more of an impact besides, the obvious, which is Messi. So,
Ananda, before we get to ours, we have our high top says gotta give a shot to Garces. Comment sign says voted
Very
for
good
Nelson. When a defender scores like that, it just pumps everyone up to another level. Darren says I like Mike's pick for Pecky. Darren also says the entire back line should get defending the badge. If there was a way to do that, then I would love to do that. Defense rocked it. But Ananda, who was yours?
Come on, Rob. You know how I gotta go for it. Primo, man. I gotta go for Primo Ricky. Come on, dude. I mean, look, I was actually in between John Nelson and actually the entire back line. But guys, this is the thing, right? And I've said it before. This team is going to go as far in the playoffs as Ricky Puig is going. He's that engine in the midfield. He's the guy that sort of sets the tempo. He makes everything happen. And guys, he's playing defense. Headline, he's playing defense. I mean, you see him sort of chomping at the bit. You see him chomping at the bit in tackles. And that's not necessarily, I wouldn't see that consistently for 90 minutes. But now I can tell sort of there's an added level of sense of urgency in his play, but he somehow is able to. I mean, he is rapid, like on the ball. There's no one like him in the league. He is faster on the ball than he is off of it. I think we've said that a few times on this pod, but just the fact that he can balance that with tempo setting and know when to attack and know when to hit the seams and know when not to. I think he is in prime playoff form, and we need an informed Ricky Puig. And like I said, we're going to go as far in this playoffs, I think, as he goes. So Ricky Puig, the talisman of this team for me, and my defending the badge.
Mike, so sorry. Remind me who you picked again. What was it? Was it also Gabriel? Was it Gabriel Pecky?
Pecky. Yeah.
Gotcha. So we have 2 for John Nelson and 1 for. Oh, sorry. We have 1 for Nelson, 1 for Puig, and 1 for Gabriel Pecky. I'm gonna be that contrarian person and say Mickey Yamane. You saw him be a vital part of the offense in this match. Get forward. We've spoken about how Greg likes to add that fullback, that Mickey Yamane presence to the midfield to kind of overload the midfield and be another outlet for offense. And you saw it come off beautifully. For me, he destabilized Colorado completely, because not only do you have to worry about that Ricky Puig driving down the heart of your spine, but now you have to worry about Mickey Yamane driving down the heart of your midfield as well. And so for me, it's Mickey Yamane. But of course, it doesn't matter what I want or what even these boys want. It only matters what you want. You find people in chat, you find people that voted with 92 million votes. The winner is John Nelson for his John. Is that his John's first win this year, Ananda?
Yeah, first one all year, man. Absolutely first deserving. What a
time to do it. What a time!
No better time to have it.
Exactly. Well, just to give you guys an update on who has the most of any of the badges this year, it is Gabriel Pecky with 9. And so we'll have an official graphic up here for you, like we've been promising all season, and we will have it for you soon, man. You know what? Ananda, I have the concept of a defending the badge graphic. It's on the way soon. Anyway, so Galaxy win game 1. We do have game 2 coming at you very, very quickly on Friday. Game 2. Man, we are going to ask chat game predictions, and for the other Galaxy to win this match, they need to do ... You guys let us know. But the current playoff bracket, Ananda, I'm sure that you have that right here. You have a LAFC victory over Vancouver. I believe Seattle ended up beating Houston. Is that correct?
In PKs. Yep, that's right. So they're up 1-0 in their series. Of course, we're up 1-0 with that 5-0 win on the Eastern side. Miami with a 2-1 win over Atlanta in their first game. Orlando 2-0 over Charlotte, and Cincinnati with a 1-0 win. So Rob, that means all of the home sides have won their first games so far. Of course, there's 2 fixtures tomorrow, RSL and Minnesota, which is of interest to us, LA Galaxy fans. That is on our side of the bracket. And then on the other side in the Eastern Conference, Columbus, last year's winners against Red Bull New York. So that's how the brackets look at the moment.
So anybody that's interested to check out the Galaxy's next potential opponent, that will be tomorrow, Real Salt Lake versus Minnesota. Of course, Real Salt Lake flirted with first place in the West, or the upper places in the West all year, and they had a little bit of a drop off, but still a very dangerous team. Don't kid yourself either on Minnesota. They have their moments as well. Let's look at some LA Galaxy team news. Guys, I don't know if you remember, but at the end of this match, Miro Garces came off injured. We do know, per Greg Vanny, that was more precautionary than anything. He looks to be fine. We should find out, get a final word from Greg on Wednesday when the team has media availability. Colorado, I spoke about Cole Bassett very heavily last pod with y'all in the preview. The LA Galaxy ended up not having to face him. Chris Armas rolled him out on the morning of game 1 after another setback, soft tissue injury that's kept him out for the better part of a month. Chris Armas said he wanted to be cautious given that it is a best of 3 series. It is no surprise that since he's been out for the last month and a half, the Colorado Rapids have lost the last 5 straight without him. Everybody speaks about Jordy Mihevlich being the talisman of this team, and he's certainly a fine offensive player who also remains day-to-day. But for me, it's Cole Bassett that's the real big miss in this team. If he is missing in game 2, then it's going to be very difficult for this Colorado Rapids team to pick up anything from the Galaxy, despite them being at home. Boys, just like we did with the lineup a little bit earlier, do we see any potential changes to the lineup for game 2? Anybody have any potential changes? Mike, Alex, Ananda? Kind of picks itself, doesn't it?
That's what we were saying earlier, right? Let's why fix it while it's broken. Of course, on the other side, you're gonna see Georgie. I think this is do or die for them. So he's probably going to slot in that number 10 position. Of course, I think we'll hear more later in the week. So keep it plugged into, all of our Twitters. So we'll get the latest team news, I'm sure. Or, of course, on the Colorado side, it's Matt Pollard, Mr. Matt Pollard at Burgundy Wave. So
Burgundy Wave, yep.
Well. Yep.
Speaking of, really quick, boys, let us know where the folk can find you. And then that way they can be that much more locked in, especially as we go throughout these playoffs. Mike, hit us up. Miggy Gris, where can the folk find you?
You can find me on social media and on X or whatever as at Mike Gray AFC, and you can find me at ElTraficoTV. Just go to ElTraficoTV.com. My coverage this year has been... It's been a weird year, guys, because I set out to do some travel, some road trip content, and then I had some job, life stuff, and it was a big project that I never really set off the ground. And then only in the past maybe month or 2 have I really gotten back to covering soccer. So there's some stories, and hopefully I can add more content soon. But yeah, that's just where I'm at.
Well, we missed you, and we're glad you're back on the grind. Profesor Alejandro Ruiz, dinos, ¿a dónde te pueden encontrar la gente? Where can the admirers of Profe Alex Ruiz go ahead and find you?
Yeah, so you guys can find me on X, right there at the little handle down there, Alex Ruiz 15. You also find my written work on the GalacticTribune.org, trying to get some different kind of articles out there for playoff coverage. Just chronicling the story, because look, this is the opportunity for the Galaxy to really do something historic, something memorable. You want to be there to read about all these special moments, and you guys can also find me here. Me and Ananda do Los Galacticos, so we'll probably be working on that project. I think we've both had a really good time, just kind of nerding out, breaking down film,
And the
just really
response has
giving
been
other
nice.
Yeah, it's been
For sure.
nice whenever me and Ananda have kind of received it. We're definitely very much motivated to continue to do that. I'm very motivated to continue to do that. We really want to make this a really high quality project. And look, I have a lot of fun doing it. I don't want to speak for Ananda, but it's definitely a good time getting to nerd out and just analyze film.
Yeah, I mean, we're hard at work on the next one. We were thinking about doing a playoff edition one, but just trying to let a couple things settle. Hopefully we close this out soon, and maybe we can do a retrospective look at round one and what we could sort of build on that into.
I mean,
round
there'll be an
two.
international break, so there'll be time.
Yep, there'll be time.
Yep.
Yep.
And if the Galaxy end up taking this in game two, then they'll have 23 days off at the very, very least. So we did ask chat for the Galaxy to win this match. They have to ... Keep dropping those in there along with their predictions if you haven't done so. But we're going to take it to you guys, and Alex, we're going to go right back to you. For the Galaxy to win this match, they have to fill in the blank.
Yeah, there's going to be a little hint for my next article up in the Galactic Tribune. For the Galaxy to win, they need to show that killer mentality. Look, you're talking to a wounded animal right here in the Colorado Rapids, a team that's on one leg, that's barely surviving. Just close that out. Finish the game. Show that you're not, you're here for a business trip. You're not here for fun. You want to be able to go into the next round with all the momentum, with all the confidence. Want to be able to show that, hey, we are serious contenders. We are legit contenders. After a great performance at home, great teams, they're able to replicate stuff like that. As Maya Yoshida said, they want this game to be the standard heading into the rest of the playoffs. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing if the Galaxy can show off the killer mentality, can show that they can kill their opponents, and that, look, we saw what happened in Houston, very heartbreaking. The killer mentality wasn't there from the players. You kind of saw it towards the end of the game. It just wasn't at that same level of concentration. So right now you need to be able to show that you have that killer mentality, show that that game in Houston, you guys learned something from it, that you guys were able to take something away from it and be able to kill off the Rapids in round one.
Don't lose the lesson, and then also be a killer. I love it. Mike, for the Galaxy to win this match, they have to ... fill in the blank.
This was a tale of, that Colorado Rapids victory on Saturday. It was a tale of two halves. The first half, you had what I would consider a vintage playoff performance by the Galaxy. They were rock solid defensively. They didn't give Colorado an inch. They didn't beat themselves with any silly mistakes. And then first corner of the game, 30th minute, we get a header from Dejan Joveljic. Now, if the Galaxy don't score in that first half, they've got an expected goals of 0.1, 1/10 of a goal, all right? And if they go into the match scoreless, maybe it's a situation where we're talking more about Armas doing a good job as opposed to Vanny. The second half was the Galaxy's just full offensive capabilities. They slaughtered the Rapids, and it wasn't close. And yeah, those were two distinctive reactions. But what was really important and why we were all so impressed is because this was exactly what Vanny's been preaching for the past 6 to 8 weeks, which was, I just think the fact that defensively they were rock solid and they didn't give away any turnovers. To get both at once is special for the Galaxy, although there's a caveat. A few times where they did give the ball away, yes, Rapids capitalized, but they looked dangerous. Now, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself with this game too, because this sounds like something that's maybe for later rounds, and I don't get too ahead of myself, but that first half performance where it was bend and don't, not bend and don't break, but just being patient with the ball. You didn't see that earlier this season, but just recycling it, being nice and patient, waiting for the right opportunity, and then when they had the opportunity, they struck. They're going to need that mentality in later rounds. If they have to go to LAFC and California Stadium, it's going to be a game where they're going to have to make the most of their chances. And so it's a start, but they're going to have to keep it up for the duration of the MLS Cup playoffs, and that's not going to be easy for anybody. But like I said before, October. So to win, they just keep up the same mentality.
Keep up the same mentality, stay mentally strong. Kind of like Greg said, execution. Anandita, what about for you? For the Galaxy to win this match, they have to.
Just simply put, not breathe any life, any sort of inkling of hope into that Colorado Rapids team. I think we have them where we want them. I think they are a wounded animal, and that's because they are injured, right? They're banged up, and so we have to take advantage of that. Like, it's no time to feel sorry for anyone. We've got to just, step on the throats while they can, while they're down, and just close this thing out. I mean, it's very similar to what you guys have been talking about, but it's not sort of, and this is more of a macro and a micro thing, like within the game, like don't give any cheap turnovers. Like Mike was saying, don't give them the ability to sort of score a cheap goal, whether it's off a set piece or off of a loose ball or off of a missed coverage or sending our fullbacks too high in certain situations. Like, I think Greg has a game plan. We just have to stick to it. But the biggest thing is just not give them any hope, because anything can happen in that altitude, in that stadium. You don't want to give them any signs of life. So that's it, man. And it kind of echoes though what you guys have been saying about the killer mentality, and that's what we got to do.
Well, after a dominant Game 1 performance in which they win 5-0, I know you and Doc Rack, a.k.a. Dr. Aquino, have been busy in the lab getting these betting odds to send off to Las Vegas. Go ahead and hit us up.
Yeah, guys, you might like these odds. As the away team and the home team, we both have very similar odds. So both giving us a 40% chance. That's a plus 150. And so that's really, really high, right, for a road team, and rather low for, I would say, for a home team. So I'm assuming that, guys, the bookies are probably, accounting for the injuries that Colorado's having. They're accounting for that dominant performance that we had last match. And they're probably accounting for the fact that we just beat them, just a month ago or so at their place. And yeah, I mean, all signs are probably pointing to the Galaxy closing this thing out. Of course, we don't want to say that dreaded sort of 2-letter phrase or anything like that. But look, I think we're going to come in with the right mentality. So yeah, not too worried about that part.
We're not saying that phrase and ruining it. Let's get into predictions, and then let's wrap this up here. Alex, Game 2, LA Galaxy head to Colorado, a place where it's been difficult for them to win. They got their first win in Colorado earlier this year, I believe, since 2017. Someone fact check me on that one, but it had been a long time. They got to go back on Friday. What do you think is going to happen? Who do you think gets the win?
Yeah, I think this is going to be definitely a tighter game, given that the Rapids are going to be fighting for their lives here, wanting to stay alive in the playoffs, take it to Game 3. But look, the talent advantage is on the LA Galaxy. I think the discipline, tactical stuff is on the LA Galaxy. Whether you get Georgi Mihailovic back or Cole Bassett back, they're not at 100%. And I believe the Galaxy are probably going to get a maybe 2-1 victory. I can see them conceding one goal, maybe something late. But I can see them at least giving up one goal. They did really good defensively, but I feel like we're going to see some adjustments on the Colorado side. But again, the Galaxy just have that talent edge. I wouldn't be surprised if, we see Ricky Puig kind of be on the scoreline again. I think the Rapids, this is correct because I looked at this morning. He scored the most among the teams that he's faced in MLS. The Rapids are the team he scored the most goals against. So if there's any bets for Ricky Puig to score against the Rapids, I'd definitely be taking that. But yeah, I think that the Galaxy is going to close it out, and I think they're going to show that glimpse of, a real legit killer mentality.
El profesor Alex Ruiz llamando una victoria del Galaxy 2-1 en la primera ronda de los playoffs. Mike Gray, aka Mickey Gris, tell us what you think is going to be happening in this Game 2 in round 1 of the MLS Cup Playoffs against Colorado.
God, Rob, I love when you speak Spanish. It's so beautiful. It's almost as good as when you sing on the pod. I always love that. So I mean, I've even told you that in the press box.
We still got to get a karaoke night going, and we still got to get a jam session going.
I'm officially the worst when it comes to planning stuff for myself. But yeah, well, just inside joke. But we've been talking about John for the longest time. But what do I think is going to happen? My thoughts mostly echo Alex's. You have an obvious talent advantage. I think it's difficult to come back from a 5-0 drubbing. They're obviously going to be motivated for a response, but these guys in the Rapids locker room, they know they're missing 3 of their key. So yeah, it's freaking Cole Bassett, it's Mihailovic, but for me, it's also the fact that Moise Bambito, who got transferred to the French league, I think he was the most expensive center back transfer in league history or something. The spine of the team's been ripped out. And if you think of the Galaxy last season when they had their injury crisis, and remember when Ricky went down, it really felt like the final straw in their attempt to sort of make the playoffs. And mentally, the Rapids are there right now. They peaked. They're a little bit like RSL, where they peaked maybe like summer, and then a combination of injuries and circumstances. And now they're just mentally, I don't see them believing that they can win and then come to LA and win again. So to echo Alex's point, the Galaxy need the mercy kill. I don't know what you want to call it, but they need to put the animal down, and they need to put the Rapids down on Friday.
Just get it done and get it over with. Mike Gray also calling a Galaxy victory. Ananda, I went first last time, so go ahead and you go.
You didn't go first last time. Everyone knows that. But of course, chat goes first before I go first. G Camp says 3-1 Galaxy, and Rocio says Galaxy win 2-1. Look, I think we're all pretty confident. And Rob, you're going first. I'm going to be so petty about this.
I'll be a nice guy and go first, even though I went first last time. I am calling another Galaxy victory. Calling a 2-1. Yeah. I feel like that's a pretty good, appropriate score line. Galaxy, just, you guys have mentioned it. The talent disparity is there, and even if Colorado gets players back, they're not going to be 100. They're not going to be game fit. It's gonna be rough. And even if they do win game 2, to Mike's point, it's going to be an even bigger ask to come all the way back to Los Angeles and pick up even another victory. So, just send it on Friday. I believe the LA Galaxy can do it. 2-1, and that's me going first. Chat, remember this, because I went first last time as well.
No one's gonna remember in 3 weeks. Don't worry. I'm just kidding.
Truth.
Hey, no, but this is going to be not only clean sweep for the Galaxy, this is going to be clean sweep in predictions as well. I'm also going to go for Galaxy win. Really, really good points raised by you guys in terms of the talent gap. And this is the other thing too, guys, is whatever game plan Chris Armas throws at us, we have a counter for. You want to go man-to-man? Okay, cool. We'll break you down. We'll pass it around. Our midfield will get in the right positions, and we'll break you down that way. You want to stay back? Okay, cool. We'll pass it around in possession, build up, and then somehow Ricky or Gabriel Peck or a difference maker, we'll play tiki-taka 1-2, and we'll get a goal. I mean, whatever they throw at us, I feel like we have a counter for, and that's huge in tactically in something like the playoffs. And so that on top of the mental part that Mike talked about, which is a great point as well, I can't see anything other than a Galaxy win.
It is a clean sweep. All 4 of us have called an LA Galaxy victory in game 2 on Friday. Coming up, if the Galaxy do not get a win in game 2 for whatever reason, game 3, if necessary, will be Saturday, November 9th at home at the Digs at 7 p.m. First kick is at 7:10. Again, you want to be watching that RSL versus Minnesota match. The winner of the LA Galaxy versus Colorado series faces the winner of RSL and Minnesota. The next time, if the Galaxy does end up winning this next match, the next time they would play is either November 23rd or Sunday, November 24th, giving them a long layoff, like Alex mentioned, the international break, and that's I've mentioned already, a little bit of a break that gives me a little bit of a worry right there, because it's a long layoff. But
Yeah.
anyway, we are going to be looking for an LA Galaxy victory. Just to let you guys know, there will be no pod on Thursday. It is Halloween, so we will not be with you guys. We will be passing out candy. I'm going to be dressing like Alex Ruiz, doing my best I can to look as galan as him. And so anyway, Alex, do you have a costume for Thursday?
No, I haven't. I don't really have one, but I mean, the ones that I've done the last couple of years, Air Pilot or Indiana Jones, those ones are pretty solid ones.
Oh, Indiana Jones
Classics.
is rocking.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike? Do you have a costume for Thursday?
Nah, typically I either dress like PB Valderrama or Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons. Those are two crowd pleasers, so I like them.
Yeah, those are good ones. I can't wait to see your Pibe Valderrama. And guys, we can't wait to see you next time we are with you, which will be on Monday, the Monday after the Galaxy take on Colorado. Geez, Ananda, what day is that? Because the Colorado match at Colorado is on the 1st, right? So it'd be the 4th. Guys, we will be back with you on November 4th, Monday, 9 p.m. We'll give you our reaction to hopefully the LA Galaxy victory. And before we get out of here, I want to say thank you once again to our special guest, El Profe Alex Ruiz, and our friend of the show, aka Miggy Gris, Mike Gray. Thank you so much to these El Tráfico boys for hanging out with us once again. Go ahead and check out their work online. If you aren't, you guys are missing out. Gents, thanks again for dropping by. Anandita, anything else to add before we get on out of here?
I was trying to find something in chat, but no, just I can't wait to hopefully close this thing out. And like I said, guys, just keep your eyes and ears peeled. Of course, Alex and I are going to be working on the next Galacticos, and we've got another couple of special guests lined up. So always keep it tuned within, guys. And knock on wood, things turn out great, and we'll bring you guys some even more special guests. So thanks for keeping it locked with us, Jesus, always, and have a good night y buenas noches.
Buenas noches, indeed. If the LA Galaxy end up winning on Friday, that would mean there is just 3 more matches to go till the 6th MLS Cup for the LA Galaxy. I believe it is doable. We've been talking about it all year. Are the LA Galaxy back? Well, I guess we'll find out in 3 matches. Until we meet again, guys, thank you so much for listening to this pod and being here with us. We do appreciate chat. As always, you were lovely and beautiful and doing your thing. If you are here, it's because you found us at youtube.com/@Lacuna Galaxiana, and we thank you so much for doing so. Guys, until we meet again, one thing left to say, besides you and I and Dr. Raquinho going to be celebrating on Friday, and it is G's up. Tu y yo.